crashing into me. Drown me in your lies, and there's no way to breathe. And my walls will keep you down. I am safe without the sound of you around. It's getting colder, and I'm the storm that's taking over. worse. I don't believe in love. Hey, if I want something, I got it. Hey, oh baby, I know you love me. Hey, cause your love I cannot buy it. Wasn't real with you, boy. Real, wasn't real with you, boy. You won't give me too much chances. I don't care if I am fancy brighter. Yeah, oh boy, I'm telling you goodbye, I'm telling you goodbye. Yeah, oh boy, I'm telling you goodbye, I'm telling you goodbye.
Tags, he is the hero. Yevney, oh dear, showing the back to Ambition. Oh no, he received a shot, now he's a one shot. Oh dear. Yevney.
Wait, I'm gonna load up the stream.
It's the $1 million question. Can he survive? He race.
Let's see.
Oh my god. Oh no, he fell over. He fell. Oh no. Oh no.
Don't worry. Good evening, everyone. Barring from some kind of disturbances at the start and wrong trailer, I mean, I haven't changed all my OGOBS software, so apologies for that. But this is the right one. Welcome back. This is Friday Night with Wild. It has been months since the last one, and unfortunately, that was because I was so busy before. And this was this is going to be tonight. We have Assassin with me from Jokers, which won the spring season most recently. Hello, Assassin.
Hello everyone.
Hello. How are you doing? Just to start.
Not too shabby. How are you guys?
I hope you guys are all doing fine. And Foxy say rip. And hello, Knuckles. Hello, Stay. Hello, Ty. And the reason why tonight is quite a different time to it usually was is because Assassin is from the west coast of the United States, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Yeah, so his time is currently like in the afternoon, like 1 or 2, I forgot. But
yeah, it's like
yeah.
1 p.m.
So that's why the stream has started later than it was supposed to be, but it doesn't matter. Good, still enjoy the goods here. So before we continue, let's just watch a brief highlight of Jokers in the grand final against Rain, where they won 5-1.
Yeah, but TJ now in trouble. Look at him. He's getting tracked. He's getting very focused here. Which makes sense, but he can't really go anywhere without getting shot at this stage. Joker's moving in. TJ is out for the count already.
This was Joker's game plan. Sucker them back into getting those caps. Put them in an area where you can farm them.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they're doing.
And for
Doom is being pummeled here. Yeah. Focus fire there on Glory. Well, you say that, but the core was obviously Glory, so Yarrow there went past Ated Fate and Dragon Creek just to get onto Glory.
Who is getting an absolute pummeling.
Ooh.
But so is Glory.
Just lost a load of HP.
Yeah.
Glory lost a load of HP there.
Zaytu getting tracked, Glory getting taken out. Whitetails as well. Zaytu gone.
Oof.
Hated Fate, oof. This is a lot of HP to be losing very quickly. But look at this, base B is being contested from the other side. Zaytu has been taken out.
Zaytu going down rapidly for Rain. Yes, Joker have lost a lot of hit points.
And Assassin...
Assassin finally goes.
Yeah, but it's indeed a finally. And that's saying something as well. Glory having 52 HP left. There he goes. Blacktails as well.
This is good movement by Joker. They're really rotating around the map nicely. They're moving their tanks, and Assassin is in the A cap.
Honestly, this kind of stuff. Oh,
Got all the caps. Yarrow stole the C cap, forcing everybody to move from Rain, and at the same time, Assassin just jumped in, and now he's killed his fate.
yeah. His royal fatness now in a word of hurt, and he's not going to make it. And
there he
Zaytu
is.
next. Joker
It's a
has it.
class act.
They've got the whole tournament. Incredible gameplay.
So right, that was the highlights video of Joker's 5-1 against Rain. Very, very epic matches and gameplay here. I mean that's going to be pretty much a very important game for you. And how did the team react when you guys win the spring season on the NA server for the very first time?
The way we reacted, we were just like all like really hyped up and excited because like obviously like we made like top 4 and stuff before, but like we always knew we had what it like took to be the best, but actually achieving it, right, and like doing it is like felt amazing, like for all of us. Like I don't know, like it was just full on excitement, like in the voice chat.
I see. I mean, I mean, you're also the first team which is outside of the Rain and PRAMO duopoly to win win a tournament season basically on the NA server. So I suppose this feeling is quite special for you. I suppose, right?
Oh yeah, because I mean in NA it's been like for like a 3-year reign where it's just RGN or PRAMO going back to back in grand finals, but we finally put a change to it this season.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of I would say it's going to be a turning point for the NA server probably this year. I think one thing to kind of take note of is that a lot of EU players actually come over to the NA server and kind of help some of the clans, particular clans, I mean a lot of clans, not just Rain and PRAMO, to kind of get the teams to be very competitive, and I think Joker's also benefited from that. So I suppose NA is going to get even more competitive now. So I think you will have a lot more competition. And how will you be doing? How would you be coping with that?
Well, the way we just kind of like work with my team, right, to prepare for others is just like we just make sure like we're practicing and stuff, and then we just like practice our maps, practice our strats and stuff, and then we go into the tournament, and then we just play them like they're normal. Because like a big thing for us, right, is like we're mostly the underdogs. Like we were the underdogs for like most of the season, so we just like played them like they were just casual nobodies, and then we just perform, right? Because like if we play like we're playing against like the 2-year champs of RGN, we're gonna get all nervous, and then our play goes down the hill. But we just like practice, and then we know our preparation's good, so then we just execute it like in the tournaments.
So I mean, that's obviously very great to see. And I mean, a lot of clans have been preparing a lot. So, what have you done differently to other teams in order to be the best clan on the NA server? If you don't mind telling some secrets.
Oh well, I mean, obviously, right? Like we practice a lot compared to most teams, but I feel like another thing that kind of stood out for us, right, was that me and like people on my team, we would watch like the streams of like how other teams would play, or like what tanks they would like to spam, all that sort of stuff. And then, we kind of designed strats to kind of, counter them, because like in the big sets, like the finals and the grand finals, like you can't run your standard strats. So you have to run something that's like gonna like give you a like really early advantage against like RGN or like a PRAMO or Apex sort of clan,
Yep. I mean, I think both teams kind of did that during the grand final, and I think there was a lot of early cap play and also cap resets there. So I mean that's kind of common thing to see. But I mean, this is not one of the things you saw during the grand final. Another very important thing to take notice of is really Joker's focus fire during the grand final, which was pretty concentrated, I would say. So how did your team improve the focus fire as you practice and also play tournaments?
Yeah. So with Focus Fire, like that's more where my calling comes into play because like the way my team works is like we have two callers, right? It's me and then Tails, Whitetails.
Yeah.
And then Whitetails will like notice like rotations and stuff. And then like when it's time to like push something or like get in a fight, I'm usually the one taking over that. But something that my team did this season was for the start of it, we were all mostly quiet. Like my team was all mostly quiet, but everybody started like giving their own 2 cents. So then if I'm focusing in a brawl right, well then like another teammate of mine, like Blacktails, will come in the fight and then he'll start talking. So like that's why in the games, right, like that Faust game where we fought against Rain, like I was focusing Glory with Yarrow, and then like the rest of my team was focusing Dragon Creek because like we think it's kind of a waste to focus just one tank and delete him when we could delete like 2 tanks for free, you know?
I mean, this is important as well. Sometimes you don't just like send everyone to just focus one tank, and especially now we're going to see more what I call it to be the attack move, which is a term I took from strategy games, where different tanks go for different tanks, but you have to take a good balance between focus fire and attack move. But the reason why you want to do attack move in some situations is that if you focus too much on one single tank with all your tanks there, you might waste a shot. Secondly, you might get rushed on the other side, and this is why we were seeing like jokers kind of focusing different tanks a little bit. For example, during the Faust game where I think Eminem almost caught you guys didn't focus, you guys almost not focusing fire, but in the end you really focused down the 2 tanks really well. So I think this is something I think we could all learn from. Right, so, I mean, apart from that Faust game, let's talk about the Vineyard game, because not a lot of clans take a mouse on Vineyard. It is very unusual call, given Vineyard is very rugged and also very open, on the northwestern side. So, what is your thought process with this strategy?
Okay, so when we were making the strats, right, we were thinking like, I think Whitetails was the one who said like, oh, these strats need a little bit more finesse, like it's the grand finals, whatever. And then I was like, you know what, guys, like I thought of something, like put me in a mouse like to A side for like both sides. And then it took a while, like it took like a minute or two to convince them. But the reason we did this was because like our Vineyard strat was like really weak against Apex, because Apex like snuking you like on your A or B cap, depending on what spawn you get. So I was like, if RGN like takes this into account, right, and they try to do the same thing to us that Apex did, like just have me in a mouse and try to have them nuke me, because like they can't really nuke a mouse right off the bat like that. And then ultimately like it worked, right? Like for the south spawn where I drove into A like right away, like I think it was TJ and like I don't know, another E5 in the back that like couldn't really pen me, and I just wanted to bait them out because some teams on NA run their super heavies, but they'll play C-side and then they'll play like a CB controlled strat or like a AB strat. But I just try to like debate them, and like I was like, oh, I'm in the medium side, like come deal with me. Type of thing.
I see. That's interesting call right there. Although I mean on the north side definitely took a little bit of hits, but I think more importantly really is kind of what you guys have done on kind of the other side, where you kind of like focus on tanks, and that's what we are into once again, the kind of focus fire, and also you guys kind of bled Rain a lot. Like Rain wasn't like particularly careless, but you guys found like the opportunities all the time. So I suppose you guys have worked a really long time to figure out positions on different maps, right?
Oh yeah, I mean that's where the whole preparation comes in, because like obviously like we know, right, playing against Rain, it's going to be like one of the hardest sets like in your Blitz career, right? But the most important thing for us was just like getting our practice in, so that way we when it's time to go, like we're ready. Because also another thing with our strat, right, is like I'll put myself there, so that way like I have like 2 to 3 teams focusing on me, and then that opens the opening for my team, to take that advantage in the middle of the map and just put them like in the dirt.
I see. So, very interesting, obviously. So, which game across the whole season for you guys leaves the most impression on you?
Honestly, I'll always have to say it's probably grand finals because like I made the grand finals like 2 to 3 times already, and I've always lost it. So
Yeah.
I think like winning with like such a strong fashion of like 5-1, like we only dropped one game. I think that's like my proudest moment of like this season, and I'm
Ah.
pretty sure for the rest of my team it is as well. But
Yeah, especially against Rain, where I think a lot of people
Yeah.
dubbed it as the kind of the strongest team on the NSL, like very
yeah.
very strong team. Yeah, and kind of the only team where they didn't get my Jenks from. So for
Yeah.
Rain to kind of lose 1-5 to you guys, I think that's kind of very special feeling for you guys.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yep.
I mean, I would say like the second like most proudest feeling is probably beating Pramo though, because like we've always lost to them, and
Okay.
there's like a little back and forth between us and them. But I would 100% say like Rain was the best moment of this feeling because winning the season is just great.
And also, you got a lot of prize money. You got $3,500
Oh, yeah.
US dollars for the team, and then personally you got like $350 US dollars. So, have you
Mhm.
spent this prize money yet? If not,
Um,
where would you spend the
funny
money on?
thing, we just got the prize money in today.
Oh,
I'm probably just gonna save my money though, because
I see.
I bought an iPad already, so I don't know. I'll probably just save and see like what comes into mine. Probably buy like school clothes or something.
True. I mean, summer season is going to be here within a month, so season's going to start
Oh,
very,
yeah.
very quickly, and once again, I think we will be expecting similar price pool then. So
I hope so.
yeah, that force asked a question. I think he asked, could you tell a bit about the esports scene and how Blitz doesn't or does fit in? Is Team Jokers considering private team sponsoring, etc.?
Okay, so in terms of esports, well, the way it works for Blitz, it's different from other like mobile games like a PUBG or like Brawl Stars, because Blitz is pretty small compared to like all these games, right? So like you can't really get sponsored. Like I know like there's like one team or one clan on EU that has a sponsor, which is like BPS, but like for most of us, like we can't get a sponsor because of like how small the game is, right? Or at least right now it is. Hopefully it grows in the future, which it seems to be doing that. But as of now, I think it's too small for like any sort of sponsorships.
I mean, true. I mean, at the moment, the scene is the scene. We don't have like a lot of teams like being very competitive, and also I think the server size is also relatively small, and then there is a very small proportion of teams that are interested in the tournament. So I can understand that not a lot of commercial sponsors might be interested in following these teams, particularly when you probably might not have lots in return. And yeah, so, I mean that's interesting. But I mean some teams got some really generous donations, and I think that could be a good thing if that helps the team to grow more and also to motivate them more. But anyway. So, what are your plans for the rest of the year with Jokers?
For the most part, we want to keep the same team. In this season, we had like a kind of like a little problem with our team with one player, but we got that sorted out, and we're just looking for a replacement right now. So during like this month of June, we're having our like tryout sessions, and we're gonna see like who's gonna be like the 10th player on our team. But for the most part, our team's gonna stay the same, and the goal is gonna stay the same as well, like getting top one, because we made it before and we always had the potential to do it. So like we want to be the best for like the season from here on out into fall.
I see. So, I mean, interesting. Hopefully you will find a player very soon. And another question from Nutful Force. Any ideas on how to grow into a more mature esports scene in terms of the number of viewers as well?
Did you say scene or team?
Esports scene, like
a scene. I mean, I feel like the way it could get bigger is if wargaming were to promote it more, because like Wargaming will only, stream it on their YouTube channel, like in the grand finals of like a season, which I feel like doesn't do the esports scene justice, because it's like you have like your month of like ascent tournaments, and then you have like all the clips from that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, for one, I would say like if there is a little bit more like promoting the season and like the teams, because like a lot of the players are really casual, so like they'll play like a QT instead of an ascent, right? So like I would also say, maybe increase the in-game rewards of like an ascent by like at least like doubling the amount you could get from like a QT, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of little things that Wargaming could do to like, bring all these like players into the ascent, so that way we don't have like these messed up brackets and stuff.
Yeah, the brackets. It's one of the main
Yeah.
problems for the spring season, where I think the first previous skill tournament, Rain versus Jokers in the group stage quarterfinals.
Oh, yeah.
Which, I mean, Jokers won in the end. That was very important. That kind of, foreshadow the grand final victory a little bit. But it's not nice. Like both these teams are like the best teams on the NA server, and they have to play a match to decide whether they can go into the second day or not. So I think they need to change the seeding system, and I think the summer season we're going to see a different system in place, where we're going to see the return of bronze, silver, and gold tournaments, and we will see if it's going to work.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it works. I mean, I feel like with the whole win rate abuse thing, it's like I can't really blame the teams for it, because it's like at the end of the day, like Wargaming has like so much time like during the off seasons and stuff. Like they could, I'm pretty sure they could implement something that's like a counter to it, or like at least implement a rule where it's like you can't have like one battle and 100% win rate. Like make the tournaments like a requirement, like at least like 2,000 battles or something. Like I feel there's something that could be done to prevent this, but. I mean, at the end of the day, it's it's whatever. You have to make it to the second day regardless.
Yeah, that's true, and the summer season we're going to be seeing the return of random seeding. Definitely, definitely interesting though. I think I've done the maths, and it's still better actually to use the win seed in some sort of way. But at least you cannot rig the with quotation marks rig the system. Although the maths say there is a higher chance of mismatches, if I get the maths right, but it's still very probable that you might see some matches happening. Still, or is it wrong maths? I forgot. I have to check numbers, because for example, yes, so if you have 10 strong teams, if you to have 4 of them being in the same group in 28 teams, you kind of have like very, very low chance of that happening. But that could be different if you have lower number of teams and higher number of more competitive teams. So might have done the maths wrong, but random seeding. We will see if it's going to work, but it's going to be interesting to note. Yes.
Hopefully it does.
Hopefully so. Yes. But let's actually not stave off from that. I think I kind of heard that you were once from worked from the very bottom, and now you're now on top. So why not tell us about your history as a caller of a tournament team?
Okay, so in last year's spring is when I started to play the game again, because I took a huge break since I was focusing on school and stuff, but then COVID hit, so I started playing Blitz again, and I ended up calling for a team called JJ in spring. It's like a MM's feeder clan, so I was calling for there, and then I ended up leaving because my friend Tianchi told me like, hey, like come play with this team, which was GMA at the time. And at that time, GMA was like really rough because it was such a new team and it was so raw. Like we would lose a lot in scrims, but we just like all stayed together and we kept on working. And then the season that came after spring was summer. So then that was the first time summer was ever like displayed. And then we tried our best to like win summer, and then we made it to like the grand finals, which was like still an accomplishment, right? Because it's like that was technically our first season. and we got
Yep.
grand finals. So we were proud with that. And then after GMA second place in summer, we moved on to fall, and then fall was probably like the biggest heartbreak for most of us since like we lost to like PRAMO and Ishtar like 3-2, right? And then the PRAMO set, like I'll never get over that set. Like Whitetail's getting ammo racked within like 30 seconds of the game was just like it was just
true,
tough.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was.
seeing that just it just sucked. But I've definitely like worked my way up from the bottom. It wasn't something that I was given for. Like I had to work for it, right?
Yeah.
Which makes the satisfaction just way better at the end of the day. Like when we went first, like I knew I worked for it, I put in the time and everything that was needed, and I got what I wanted. But yeah, I definitely started from the bottom.
That's very interesting story here. Thank you, Level Force. Great to have you on the chat as well. So hopefully you have a good night as well. So I mean, further from what you said, so what would you say to the callers who start from the very bottom, who wants to work their way to the top? So how can they climb this ladder, especially now there are a lot more competitive teams?
I would say, just stay dedicated to it, because like calling is not something like, oh, you have to be special to do it. Like I feel like most of the experienced tournament players could do it. It's just like something that's going to take you a lot of time and practice, because you have to develop your strategy game to be like at an all-time high, and then you have to make sure your reactions are quick to like what the enemy's trying to do to your team. So I would just say, put the time and effort in, and then you could become good at it.
Yeah, I think that was that's very nice answer indeed. So I mean, let's move on to Steve's question. So going into the next season, and more importantly, Blitz Cup 2021, which I think should happen in around November, how would you rank your competitors on the NA server?
How would I rank my competitors? Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like RGN will always be like the toughest competitor, because like even though RGN doesn't go full sweaty mode in like these seasons like spring, summer, I feel like they're still very like a strong opponent, and you can't take them lightly, because you'll get beat. But I think I would rank my like competitors like RGN. I'd probably put PRAMO next, and then I'd probably put GG and Apex, and then the rest I don't even know who to consider. I mean, I guess Purple. The thing with Purple though is like they're really inconsistent, so it's kind of hard to get like a hard performance from them, since like they're always either really good or they're mediocre. But I would kind of rank it like that, because then after that it's like the two lower teams is like they're not really gonna be hard, because it's like they either got in because of the win rate abuse or they got in because they got easy brackets. So I would rank it like that though.
Interesting. I mean, I think some of us would know what class you're talking about, but I mean, I think I would rank something similar as well. But
yeah.
But unless we're seeing some wholesale changes, where I mean, it happened between winter and spring, to be honest. So I'm not sure we're going to see another wholesale change again, but it will be interesting. I think a lot of clans will be benefiting. I mean, especially for small servers. Now we have the silver series, so that means with Morgan being saying there are only 8 teams per group, so we have similar number of teams for the Gold series compared to the second day number of teams. But now we have an extra silver series, so now you're going to be seeing the kind of challenges, lower echelon teams kind of play with one another. And I think that's going to be interesting to see, and we might see some new clans there. I don't know, but we can see some names that pop up, and we don't even expect them to be.
I mean, we hope so. Like, we hope to see new teams and stuff.
Oh, obviously, and I hope to see the first. Latin team. I think. In the top 8. Because I was kind of talking about SLG, but let's hope we will see one of them coming back to the top 8, because I think there is a very huge community right there in the Latin community. So really hope to see. I mean, think it will draw a lot of viewers as well, and
Oh yeah.
it will be really really great to see. So very similar to the last question I'm going to ask for me is that what do you want to see the most change in the tournament scene?
I think I want to see like less of the win rate spamming, because there's teams like, you know, Straight, for example, like they were like in ranked like 20th place, and then they jumped up to like 9th place just by like having two 100% win rate accounts. So like definitely, you know, the win rate seeding is, I want to see that change. But another thing too is like I want to see more diversity in teams, like with the LATAM teams. Like I would want to see like, you know, more of like a GP rise again, like from fall.
Oh yeah.
Or like, I don't know, just a LATAM team would be cool overall, because there's a big fan base like from the LATAM side. Like Papa Rage would get like a lot of viewers because, you know, you would want to rather watch your stream in like your native language. So definitely like a new team like from the LATAM side. But I also like what SLG is doing, because they're like Portuguese. So it's like, I think they're the only Portuguese team on like NA that like plays, which is another cool thing. So
yeah, they are Brazilian team. So I'm not sure if Brazil is considered a Latin team, but I don't know about. I think I don't know. Kind of like wrong impression, or is it the right impression that Brazil is part of Latin America? But maybe not. But maybe yes. I can't remember exactly.
I mean, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, though, just more teams, so that way, you know, both the Challengers League and then the Professionals League is more competitive. Like I actually enjoyed watching the Challengers League this season. Like, you know, it was really solid teams in that tournament. But just more teams, and then less like abuse of the bad system that we have right now. That's what I would say.
I mean, certainly, a lot of players are not happy with some teams manipulating that kind of system to their own advantage, which means they have to work a lot harder than some of the teams there, which it might be unfair in some sense, but I mean, we just hope that the system is going to be fixed for autumn season, and maybe we will see a different format as well. That will also address the problems that can't be solved by fixing the seeding alone. So that's good to see. Stain asked, are you expecting to see teams experiment with more diversity in tanks on the NA server?
Yeah, I think so. With the new tank that's coming, the M60, I think tournaments will become a lot more interesting, since like I feel like there's gonna be a lot more like, you know, bursting spam. So like a lot more clips to use, and then that way you just push on a team and then boom, like you kill like 2 tanks, right? So I think we'll see a lot more of that on NA. But for the most part, I don't really think we'll ever see like, you know, the whole medium thing that like EU or like RU likes to do with like when they run like 2 to 3 mediums. I don't think we'll ever see that on NA.
No, I don't think EU. I think EU is now going into a more heavy type meta, because we saw with Loka, at times they run with no mediums or lights at all. Asia, we sometimes see that from time to time. Particularly, I think E7 kind of always take mediums or lights every time. So, but NA server, I mean, the Challengers tournament I was streaming, like it's not very common to see teams consistently taking mediums or lights, with the exception of Klubniczka taking the Vickers lights almost every time, which is good.
Yeah, Klubniczka is a really good player. And like I was impressed by him in Challengers, because like in most of the games, like I would see him pulling like game-winning plays. So I think he's a really solid player.
I think he's a really good light tank. I mean, Vickers light player. I think if there he influences a lot of the games, I see. So
100%.
Yeah, and I really want to see more light to medium tank players getting the kind of the recognition they deserve. Like they usually give the team a lot of information to work with, and sometimes this kind of information would be the difference between rushing aside or not, to be honest with you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's why I kind of feel like a lot of people are not running, your light tanks or your medium tanks because like just of how hard they are to execute in this current meta with like the whole like 2800 of HP heavy tank that you need to get through. So it's kind of why I feel like there's a lot of heavy spam on like now starting to be like every server because it's just so hard to make your light tank like valuable besides like spotting and info. But yeah, I mean definitely though the light tank's probably the hardest role you would have to have like in a tournament. So credits to the light players.
Yeah, that's very true indeed. I think a few months ago, there was kind of a rumor circulating that the TDs might get a buff, like the entire TD, entire TD, the entire TDs, all the TDs on the tier in tier 10 will get a buff. I don't know what kind of buff. Maybe a hit point buff, and maybe armor buff. I don't know which one is it, but do you think that's going to play a role in changing the meta for the tournaments?
I think it'll make the meta a lot more campish. So like you'll see a lot of less like YOLOing with teams. But at the end of the day, I feel like the HP has to be buffed on a TD like a lot because you could run like a Kronwagen for a TD in some scenarios, like with the aiming consumable, and then you have like 1200 clip damage, right?
Yeah.
So I would just say like if there's a lot of like HP that's like being able to use it, right? I would say it could be in the meta, but if not though, I don't really think it'll make a play into it.
True. But I mean, I would see it becoming a little bit more campy, and let's hope it's not going to be back in the camp steer where I don't think anyone would like to. I don't think any viewer would like to see that map being played for around 7 minutes, with the majority of that being two teams waiting for the other team to make a move, because usually at that time us commentators will have a hard time to commentate, and sometimes you have to be creative with that, and maybe and for example I kind of do a tour, talking about the famous landmarks on Camp Steer, but yeah, you can't really do that.
Oh, I hate that map, I swear.
I think it's a map that us viewers would hate to see, but I think the teams aren't really that hateful towards that map. I think there are other maps that teams hate more, actually.
Yeah, I just think it's like it's so cap based. Like you have to get a cap, and then you don't have the pressure on your side. But if you don't, then it's like you have to push into like a nuke in the back of the map. Like I don't know, it's scuffed.
True, and I think another map that would become a lot more campy would be Port Bay, which can be quite slow, and it's possible to have 3 caps to be defended on both sides.
Yeah, Port Bay, it's like you either play for corner or you try to play like a cap control type of strat. So it just depends on what your goal is, what you're trying to do with it.
True, and right, so. We have more questions here. So, from the deal for Ryu. So, do you have any plans to expand the clan to 2 teams?
As of now, no. I don't really like the whole clan family thing. I've already like tried to do that and it didn't work out for me. So I'll probably not do that. I guess the only thing I could say really is like I'll be helping out like other teams, and then we'll be screaming each other, but like I don't think I'll ever want to have a team like under my clan's name or something like that. I just don't think it's a smart thing to do at this current time.
I see. I mean there are lots of resources to kind of manage when you kind of want to run a clan family. It doesn't it is kind of demanding, I would suppose. So another question Brian Neverforce is, what is your view on these fantasy equipment modules? For example, the reactive armor, the speed boost. I think also the kind of the one where you get better accuracy. So, for example, like the E5 or Kronwagen. What is your view on that?
I think honestly, it's great for like tournaments because it's like, imagine if you try to rotate a Kronwagen to like the outputs to spawn, right? And then you have to drive at like 20 kilometers an hour. I think it's good because like it just adds like that that really fast reaction time that you could have when you're trying to call. And then
Yeah.
the reactive armor, I think it's also good because it's like you could just go ram in, head first, and then just shoot me, right? I think it's a
Yeah.
good thing for tournaments because it's like you could just take advantage of it and then execute it well, and then like you could win the game off of it. Like, because if you activate reactive in an E5, then they won't want to focus you, right? So it just depends what tank you have. I think it's a great thing though.
Right. Yeah, I think there are different opinions on that. I think, but I would say it's kind of it kind of changes things up a little bit, or at the same
Yeah.
time, it kind of diminishes the role of mediums now, that because you have that smoothness, you can go really quickly, and the heavy tanks universally have better armor than mediums and lights. So,
Oh yeah.
do you think it's going to eliminate the usage of mediums and lights?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's another bad side about it, since it's like
Mm.
an E5 is so fast right off the bat. It's like, why would you run a T22 anymore? Or why would you run a light tank, right? In some maps, right? But I think it's just like one of those things with the meta, right? To where it's like you're gonna get one thing, but you're also gonna lose another, right? So I think
Yeah.
it's gonna be hard still for like your lights and your mediums to come into play for these big tournaments. But
Yeah.
I think it's definitely fun to use though. Like I would rather have a heavy meta instead of like a medium spamming meta of like a 140, like back in like
Ooh.
2017.
Well, I mean, well, that being said, though, I kind of enjoy the 2019 meta where I think mediums and lights are quite popular, and also double force. Like, I think that meta is probably the most exciting meta in tournaments. And
Sadly,
yes,
I wasn't able to take part in that tournament because I was off the game. But it definitely looked fun though. Definitely looked fun.
It was, and I remember like when on the E's they were really trying to make use of their aggression. They almost did it, but just falling a little bit short. I'm going to say hello to Blue as well. So for those of you who are still watching the stream, if you have some questions to ask for Assassin, just shoot them right now so I can ask for you guys. So do type your questions on the chat, and then I will ask Assassin on the way as well. So I mean, this ring season, I mean, we talked about to you guys winning on the episode for the very first time outside of the duopoly with Rain and PRAMO, with the exception of Void. I think 2019 or 2020, 2019 spring season, but that most of them are now in PRAMO actually. So
I mean, oof,
Kuba
it's their whole merge thing with the Void and PRAMO thing.
I see. And Cuba, yeah. I mean, Cuba was in win there, but I've been surprised though, because that meta was very, very aggressive and also very exciting to watch. But interesting to note that as a former Force main player, that you're happy that it's not in the meta anymore. I don't know why, but
I mean, the only reason why. Personally, I just don't like the Fosh at all. Like, I don't like how small the gun arc is. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's a hard thing to play for me, but it definitely looked fun to watch like RGN use it against PRAMO.
Yes, and especially when I think back then, before the kind of the rework, you have the HE shell that you can unleash for almost 1,000 damage if you can penetrate, and then you have 2 shots in the clip that you can unleash like 2,000 damage, and like in a span of let's say 14 seconds. And I think that was crazy. And sadly we don't see that anymore now, and it would have been a game changer, considering like now you have the T125s and Crown Bargains. Imagine the Fosh going to the backside of T125 and Crown and unleashing that HE shell of almost 1,000 damage, and then you fire it twice, and that's basically a tank out of the game.
Yeah, and then you have your small clip reload, which was like, I think it was like 15 or 16. I don't know. I'm not too sure because
Yeah.
I wasn't like in the game during that time, but yeah.
Yeah, but that
It
was
was fun.
that was very interesting to watch. I mean, I think this is also the last time where we see a lot of the TDs getting some attention. Now, the only TD we're seeing nowadays probably is the 268 or maybe the Horny, but really
Mhm.
it's now completely phased out. I mean, maps like Oasis Palms, we don't see any sign of TDs anymore. I mean,
Oh
it's a
yeah.
really good map for the TDs, but now don't see that. I mean, Rockfield also a good map for TDs. Don't really see that apart from maybe Zerd in that 268, but really not that common. So, well, we will see if it's going to make a comeback. It's going to be interesting. So, Blue
Yeah.
asked, yeah, I don't think it was asked before. So, what do you think about the comp scene on other servers, like the EU server and the Asia server?
I think it's great. It was sad seeing EG go down like that in EU, but I think it's also good that new teams like Serenity get a chance, right? Or like BPS, right? But
Yep.
I was mostly impressed with Loka because I remember Loka from Blitz Cup, and it's like Loka's the same as us. Like they finally got their chance, at winning, and they did it in like a dominant fashion as well. I mean, and then RU, it's like RU is always fun to watch because like that's the most competitive server overall. And then Asia's also fun since like Asia's always changing for the season. So I think it's great to see. Yeah.
Yeah, I think CIS, I think 7-star has been the champion of the CIS server for I mean for 2 seasons already. I mean, I don't know if we're going to see a change for some season, but that was impressive enough. I think that this is the only team which stayed as the best team on that server. I mean, we saw changes with the NA, EU, and Asia server, like, particularly the EU server, where I think Endgame has been the champion of the EU server for 3 consecutive seasons. Yes,
Yeah.
3 consecutive seasons, and very recently they got ousted as they lost to Redty and finished 7-8. They will be back in the Blitz Premier Cup though, but they will not be the direct qualifiers. So interesting to see how they're going to get to work their way back up.
Yeah.
Right. So the D4 also asked, do you think that the comp scene should petition Wargaming to, with quotation marks, unpatch the maps for boosts like the old days? For example, Name Frontier, which we don't see boosts anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I think the boosts are a fun thing in tournaments. Like, if you put in the work to find your like epic boosting spot, I think you should have the chance to use it. But
True.
I don't know. I guess Wargaming just doesn't like to see that. But I think it would be a good thing for tournaments. I think it makes it like unpredictable and exciting.
Yeah, very true indeed. I really want to see some really unexpected moves, but I think it's kind of a thing in the past now, so we don't see that often. So
yeah.
I mean, yeah, I personally would love to see more boosting, but I mean, it's not always a thing that works because it takes time, and also the boosted spots are not always the best spots because you have covers, you have the you have the buildings, you have the obstacles where you can't really shoot tanks on. So I think the boosters aren't really that overpowered. I mean, before it's patched, and it's you kind of need practice to make it work. To be honest with you, New Frontiers for that reason. Yeah, it will take time. So yeah, but I really want to see some out of the box thinking there. So will we see that in the next season? I mean, some of the maps do not patch though. For example, for Despair, you could still boost a gorilla up there, but it's going to take a long time. So yeah, interesting to see if it's going to work. So Yarrow, your climate asks, do you think Himmelsdorf should be added back at one map that you would like to see removed?
Yeah, actually, I think Himmelsdorf would be a fun map to have back in the meta, but
Mm,
a map that should be removed. That's
yeah.
more interesting. Hmm. What are the maps in the meta right now? Let me see. Uh, I would honestly probably say like Castilla. Like I hate playing Castilla. Like I hate how campish it is.
Oh
So
yes.
I'd probably swap the two. But yeah, other than that, I think all the other maps are fine.
Yeah, I think we are also seeing the return of Canyon and maybe Yamato Harbor as well. I mean, Yamato Harbor was never the map that was like very not a map that everyone wants it removed though. So
Oh
interesting
yeah,
to see it back. But I would say it's going to be quite similar to Camstia, where it's possible to defend three caps on both sides. Apart from maybe a south side where you can get that A cap quite sneakily, but I'm not sure if you're
yeah.
able to reset on the other side. So that kind of gives the south side a lot more advantage than the north. I don't know, but
I
interesting.
remember Yamato in Tier 8 in summer season.
Oh,
Crazy.
yeah, it is. I remember the Death Star taken by Raid back in 2018, and that was a moment as well. I think against Ace Ventura, isn't it? But it was epic. So I really want to see Yamato Harbor back because it's not a bad map. I mean,
Yeah,
some it's not a map that a lot of people like, but it's not a map that a lot of people hate. So really want to see how
yeah.
it's going to make a impact. So, um, personally, yeah, a Camstia definitely for the viewers, I would say. Although not necessarily the worst map for competitive scene, but I would say Middleburg's probably the one that I want to see removed because really the only map that you can't really only go one side, not the other side. You can use sometimes to work on the
Yeah.
other side, but like but it's kind of predictable in a way that
Oh
like the
yeah.
other side is definitely not as good as the other side. Maybe also there's a sense in that respect, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think Middleburg's a little questionable because I mean there's some, good strategy with it. Like some teams were trying to, bait you into their spawn and like, bait you with like 4 crons and then boom, you die. But like
Yeah,
other than that though, it's kind of just like, you're gonna fight on top of the hill and then like have a lights and go for the town caps. But yeah, it's kind of boring.
yeah, yeah, true. So good evening, Cougar. Hello, Blue. The Default says, remove Newbay. Personally, as a medium or light style player, yes, because we don't see a lot that running. We do
Yeah,
see at times some T2A2s, but not that often. And
yeah.
sorry, go.
Oh, I was gonna say I kind of like New Bay. I think it's one of those maps too where you don't really need a light sync. You could use an E5 instead, but I think it's a fun map to play. I just like the scenery on it as well. Like the whole bridge, and then like you have like your little like Chinatown. Like I don't even know how to say it. Like the walls and stuff. Like I don't know. I think it looks cool. I think it's a fun map.
Yeah. I mean, their positions to work your crossfire and from the south side, which can be really fun to watch, where we see
Oh yeah.
tanks getting what's the word? Mullered. That's a good word.
Oh yeah.
Richard. Getting mullered like that. So, well, not nice for that team, but very very interesting to see. But anyway, we're going to see we have another question from Cuba from North. He asks, "What is your best gaming moment you have had in Clan Wars?"
The best so far it was probably beating Pramo the best right now because Rain was also good, but like I like the people from Rain, so like it's kind of not like a big thing for me. Like oh we beat them. Like I don't like to like have that and like brag about that. I just like beating Pramo because like they beat us for so many times. They like I finally like did it in spring season, so I think that was probably like the best.
True indeed. Next, we have more questions. Daniel asks, "What is your advice for upcoming young blitz player like himself, or I don't know themselves?" But...
Oh okay. I would say just practice a lot. Obviously, get to know the tank that you want to drive, and
Mhm.
then find the set of people you want to play with. Honestly, and there's nothing else you could really do besides like, oh, maybe watching streams and stuff. I would say like you just have to, get in the tournament scene and then practice yourself because you could only learn a handful from watching like us or like RGN or Pramo or like other teams from like other servers.
Mhm. True. Yeah, the different the pink buildings. I think it's a highlight on Ubay. To be honest with you, I'm not sure if I'm the only one with which has that kind of glitch there, because I don't see that happening on other streamers. Like I don't see that on Mnet or Fujit or Every. Obviously, they run different graphic setting than I do, so I think that
Yeah.
that plays a part a little bit as well. So true. Yeah, I'm with the PC. Yes. So instead of purge, I didn't purge anything. I don't know what have I purged. So I don't know what you're talking about. But other than that, do we have more questions? Everfrost. It's a really interesting map with low gravity. That is going to be fun. I don't think that
Okay.
would be something that would be serious enough to be put into tournaments.
That would be weird.
That would be really
Imagine.
weird. Yeah.
Imagine trying to focus fire when you're in the air and stuff. Like, oh my god.
True.
Okay.
Kuga asks, are you surprised with the great success you have with Jokers? I think you asked that before, but maybe go or answer once again.
Honestly, I don't want to sound like cocky or anything, but I'm really not surprised. Like, I feel like we put in like a lot of work into spring season. Like, we worked hard for it, and then we always had the potential like to be the best. So like, I'm not really surprised to be honest, but I'm just excited. Like hard work paid off, right?
True. Yeah, it is. I mean, it was a long season anyway.
Yeah.
Like a month, and then finally it comes down to you guys like winning the entire thing. Obviously, very special, and I mean, also the first time you also won that kind of any server. I mean, I said it a lot of times apart from Travel and Rain, so I think that's also kind of an interesting thought as well. And
Yeah.
did you for us Coke or Pepsi?
Honestly, I would say Pepsi. I think Pepsi tastes better. Like, I don't know. I think Coke's really fizzy. I would say Pepsi.
Coke's really fizzy.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Ooh. Some kind of stream lag issues. But hopefully you will be fine. And Cuba from North asks, pineapple on pizza pizza or no?
I would say hard no. I do not like pineapple on pizza.
Interesting.
I
I mean,
mean, I know some
considering,
people do.
yeah, considering like the Hawaiian pizza is like traditionally they have pineapples on it, so interesting.
Unlucky.
Coming from you actually.
F for
Ooh.
Hawaii.
Yeah. Blue asks, what do you think about the monetary prize pool you earn from the spring season? Are they good for the NA server, or are they good like in terms of the general earnings or in the United States? And I mean, some for example on EU, the kind of prize pool there is not a lot for some countries, but for some countries, if I remember correctly, the East European countries, it's kind of a big amount. So,
Yeah.
how do you think about the kind of
I mean,
price?
For NA, I think
Yeah.
it's a little bit of money. Like, you could find like a minimum wage job here and like get like $10 an hour. I think that's what minimum wage is right now. And like you'll make that in like a week. But like, I mean, obviously, like it's not the most money you'll ever make for like a spring season. But I think in Blitz Cup, it's worth it. Like you'll get a lot of money from that if you place high. But one thing I would like to note though is I like how Wargaming structured like the monetary prizes this season, where it's like only top 4 gets monetary prizes, because it's like I just didn't see a point of like giving like, you know, a team that got like what 6th place like in winter season like $35. I just don't even think it's worth it at that point. It's like give them a premium tank, right? You know,
Yeah.
but I think
Yeah.
it's not the best, but it's workable.
Yeah,
It's a nice little
I mean,
cherry on the top.
if you divide the monetary prize pool to too many places, then you have the
Yeah.
danger of thinning the kind of the amount of money earned from other placings. So
Yeah.
interesting. So Cougar asks, is it probable the trend of more diverse scene on the NA server will continue?
I think yes. There's a lot of new tanks that are coming into play, like the Kronwagen, for example, or like the E5. I feel like part of that is the EU influence on NA, but I think it's definitely a good thing to see, because like the IS4 spam, I know GMA did it a lot, but it got boring. You know, it's really slow, and then when you get out rotated by like every other team, you have to switch up your game plan, right? But I think the trend of like more diversity will continue for sure.
Interesting. Yeah, I apologize for that. The stream tonight is like kind of buggy, but anyway. On the other hand, have you seen any interest from commercial sponsors towards the Blitz, towards the comp scene on NA server?
As for I haven't seen anything. But yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a sponsor try to like reach out to a team or something and be like, hey, like, you know, let me sponsor you. But it's one of those things again where it's like it would be good to have that and see that, but like Blitz at the end of the day is just way too small for like to profit off of, like if you're a sponsor.
I see. Oof. So interesting. I mean, we've been for an hour already, and let's see if we have more questions coming from other people. And my stream is really struggling at the moment. I don't know why. Like the upload speed is now very low. Like I don't think my roommate is there even. So something must be hurting the upload speed a lot. But anyway, do you guys have any more questions to ask? Let's see. No, I don't even think my roommate is there, or maybe he's not. He was away for a week, but I'm not sure he has come back and now occupy some of the bandwidth. But I'm happy. It's in the tournament match that I'm streaming tonight, so it could have been horrible. But I'm just going to do some advertisement over here. Tomorrow I'll be following the Asia Community Tournament, where we'll begin with qualifying tournaments. The qualifying tournaments will not decide whether the teams will play in the next stage or not. More like a seeding tournament, more like something like that. So it will decide the top 5 or top 6, or top 7 teams in that server. So for that tournament. As for the Blitz, as for the EU server, we'll have the big event, Blitz Premier Cup, coming soon. And that will start on the 14th of June. I might follow some of them, depending on the number of streamers we have, but the priority is that it goes to other streamers, because I will probably be doing lots of room modding and also keeping everything in place, because I'm like one of the organizers right there. So
let's go.
It's cool. Lots of fun community tournaments on both Asia and also EU server, and potentially CIS server. They're holding a 4th full tournament, which I don't know. Maybe you'll see some streams by Methodi or Pyroblast or something like that. I hope to see an NA community tournament very soon. Hopefully we'll have that happening, because there is some interest, so we'll see it soon. So Right. Hopefully. So, Cuba from North has a question, but let's go for you
Mhm.
for that first. Do you have a role model while on your journey to the top?
Or immortal?
A role model.
Oh, a role model. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I would say my role model is Whitetails. I like looking up to him because he played comp for a while and he was successful at it. So I would say it's him. I also think he's a good player.
Hmm. That'd be interesting. But also, Kuga asks, will there be more mobile masters? I'm not sure if it's directed to Assassin or if it's directed to me. Personally, I don't know if Wargaming is going to collaborate with other companies